if the kid walks up to you and he wants to be
you? Well, like I always say, it's difficult for another person to be you. But I think I'll remind him that I myself became what I became by holding on strong to my moral values and by realizing right from childhood that the road up is very stiff and it needs a lot of hard work to reach up the summit. So a kid who wants to be anything in life should be prepared to work hard to reduce his hours of play and pursuit of pleasure and devote that more time to studying, to working hard, to making sure that you trim all the little weights and burdens that try to push you down and remain straight focused on your goal and on your target. As I said, I remember when my children were going to the United States, I took their exercise. I bought each of them a packer pen, and on each of the exercise books I had given them, I wrote right over the top, and I said that should be their motto. Always seek to be over the top, and to know that it is easier to attain the summit, to reach the summit, but it is more difficult to stay long there without losing your position on the summit. So life is a continuous struggle. There's never a time you said, I have made it, because if you are not careful, you'll fall off and somebody else will replace you on the summit.
And what advice to a community who wants to develop?
I think to a community that wants to develop, one, I think they should first try to strive to have a common purpose, to remain united. A lot of our communities are divided along political lines, which I think is a waste of effort and talent. A lot of our communities are divided because of envy. Why should it be only this family that has produced this, that? And so whatever the person says, they look at it as coming from that family, not as realizing that he's saying or he or she is saying something that could be beneficial to the community as a whole. So if they could bury all these little parochial divisions among them, stay united, define their objectives well, and be prepared to sacrifice in making their own contribution from a position of real self-reliance, I think the communities can achieve a lot. And those who have realized that have already achieved quite huge projects. I am amazed at what Cameroonians have done, doing water projects in their villages, some sponsoring road projects to their disenclaving their villages, or starting scholarship programs which are sending children to school, irrespective of the background of giving opportunities to children whose parents would not have been able to. My own tribe has just been meeting recently in Bongongo, in Pale, and these were some of the issues we're seeing to strengthen the scholarship fund, so that children can be encouraged to go to school. What we have done in my own village is amazing. Right now, in a small village like that, I think there are more than 30 or 40 university graduates. There are 2, 3 principals of government schools. There are about 6 prefets and sous-prefets from that little village. It is because of that spirit of unity and hard work that I think has its antecedents in the early work and presence of Christian life in the island.
How does it feel to be retired?
Very, very happy to be retired. Yes, I am very, very happy because I have time. I'm now a master of my own time more than when I was working, when events and other people dictated how I used my time. I'm still relatively busy. I tried not to be as busy as I was because I'm also not as strong and maybe not as sharp as I was when I was a few years ago. So, and I think the greatest joy I have is that I have a stable family life. My relationship with my wife is a lot better in the sense that we are living together 24 hours 7 days a week, 30 days a month, and 12 months a year, which was different when I was working, where I had 3 or 4 suitcases packed half in my bedroom, and I was more like a visitor in my own house. But now I think my family life is a lot better than it was.
So, what advice will you give to those who look up to you?
I'll tell them first to pray for me, but I will also advise them, like I said, to put their trust in God and to know that God doesn't abandon His own, and to realize that things seem impossible until they are done, and that is all by God's grace. So you don't need to be born in a special family. You don't need to be born under very special privileges. God can identify you out of that crowd. And if you have time in your silence and listen to the small, still voice of God to direct you, to lead you, you will make it. That's why for those of us who are Christians, I always tell people that the best way to conduct your life is to live a lot of prayer. You made me write in a sermon there. You see the title, Take It to Jesus. The sermon I'm going to preach someplace. So it's always good to carry all our burdens to God and have a life of try to live honestly with people, try to defend what is true, try to defend justice.